Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode number 42 of the Lead to Greatness podcast, where we believe in helping others reach their greatest potential, and together we can change the world. Today on Lead to Greatness, we have Ari Galper. Ari is the founder and CEO of Unlock the Game. Ari is the number one authority on truth-based selling and the creator of the Unlock the Game, a new selling mindset and results-oriented approach that has revolutionized the world of selling. Ari has been featured in a multitude of leading sales and business books for his unique and special truth-based sales approach. He has interviewed on networks such as CNN Money, the Sky News. He has become the foremost on sales all around the globe. Ari's mission is to help business owners, entrepreneurs, and sales professionals break through their fears on selling, as well as creating a better life for themselves, their families, and of course, their clients. Please help me welcome Ari Galper.
This is Cedric Francis, and you're listening to Lead to Greatness.
So yeah, about 20 years ago, I was a sales manager in a software company, and we launched the first online website, software to track website behavior, like visitors on websites, like how many visitors per page, what are moving, all the data around that. So it was a fast-growing business at the time, managing 18 salespeople, and the large opportunities came across my desk. I got the big lead. So this one contact came through our website, got to me. I called them back, and it was a big opportunity, multiple websites. And if I close this one sale, Cedric, it would double the revenue of the business in one sale. That's how big it was. So you can imagine if it goes through, everyone's gonna be pretty much high-fiving me, Christmas bonus. That's how big it was. So I called this guy back. We had a great conversation. He agrees to a conference call with him and myself so I can demo our product to see if he's interested in it. So a day finally came. I went in the conference room with my boss, and I closed the door behind me. And in the room was a long conference table. In the middle of the table was a speakerphone. You know, one of the looked like spaceship, 3 legs on it. They were kind of like corporate speakerphones. And so I dialed the number, and he picks it up. My guy, his name's John, and I say, "Hey Ari, how's it going?" "Good, good." And he's like, "Hey Ari, let me tell you who else we have in the room with us today." And I was like, "Oh, wow, I didn't know there's someone else there." Next thing I hear is, "My name is Mike, I'm CEO." I was like, "Oh, wow, this is good." "My name is John, I'm head of marketing."
Oh,
This is
wow.
great. "My name is Chris, I'm head of IT." Awesome. This is, my name is Julie, I'm head of statistics. This is great. I mean, everybody on this phone call was a decision maker.
Wow.
Like, this is a call you dream of having all the time because they're all there. So you can imagine, I was pretty excited. So I introduced myself to everybody. I began to give them a live demo over the internet, over the web of our tool on their websites, show them how it all works and how we collect their information in real time. And this is early days, so it's the first time I actually saw this, and I started hearing this noise on the phone call, like, "Wow, this is great. This is amazing. We love this." They started asking me all kinds of questions. How does it work? How do we install it? How does the technology work? And of course, I have the answers to that. I was competent. I mean, there was so much chemistry on this phone call, Cedric. It was like a love fest on the phone. You know what I'm talking about?
Right. Wow.
Like, it's just like, oh, they got the questions.
Yeah.
I got the answers.
Wow.
I'm saying to myself, thank you, God. This is the most amazing sales call I've ever had in my life. There was so much chemistry going back and forth for an hour.
Yeah.
I'm doing my thing. I was, closing and offering alternative ideas and doing everything I was taught to do by the sales gurus. I was a student back then of sales, as I am now, and I had the books at home. I read them all. I went to the seminars. I had the CDs in my car back then. I was a sales university in my car, but I was listening, and I was doing everything I was taught to do. And I'm like, this is good. This is awesome. This is such a great call. And my boss is giving me a high five in the corner of the room, like back here, my shoulder's like, "Nice job." He's on his phone for a car he wants to order with his money he's going to get with the bonus. He's already ordered in the car, the wheel color and everything. He's so excited. And I was like, wow, what awesome call. An hour goes by, and my contact says to me, "Ari, this is great. We love it. Look, give us a call a couple of weeks, follow up with us, and we'll move things forward." I said, Oh, thank you, God. So I said my goodbyes. I took my arm
Mhm.
and I reached for the phone in the middle of the table, and I reached for the off button on the speakerphone.
Mhm.
As I'm reaching for the off button, by complete accident, now I said divine intervention, my thumb hit the mute button instead of the off button. By
Oh,
complete accident, they were right next to each other,
oh,
and a small click happened, and they thought I had hung up the phone. In that split second, a voice inside of me said, Ari, go to the dark side. Be a fly in the wall. Go where no one's ever gone before in the world of sales.
wow.
So I listened for a couple seconds. After that, I thought I hung up the phone. Now, what would you guess I heard in that call if you don't know the story yet? Like, what would you imagine I would have heard in this call, given what we just had for the last hour on the call? What would you guess they'd be saying to me or saying without me knowing I wasn't there?
It seemed like they'd be saying we good to go.
Yeah, you would think that.
Right.
That's what you expect to be.
Yeah.
But here's what they said verbatim, word for word.
Mhm.
I'll never forget it. What they said was this. They said, we're not going to go with him.
Wow.
Keep using him for more information
Wow.
and make sure we can shop someplace else cheaper.
Wow.
Knife in heart twist. I was in a state of shock.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And I finally shook myself out of it. I hit the off button, looked at the wall, and I said to myself, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
I was competent. I was friendly. I
Yeah.
answered the questions. They were interested. I could solve the problem. What happened here? And the big epiphany hit me was this: is first of all, I said to myself, I realized that somewhere along the way, it has become socially acceptable not to tell the truth
Wow.
to people who sell.
Hmm.
Right?
Wow.
It's okay to say things like, sounds good, send me information. Oh, we're definitely interested,
Yeah.
without having any intention of buying at all.
Wow.
It hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
Then I realized, I said to myself, why were they afraid to just tell me the truth? And I realized that what's happening is there's an invisible river of pressure that flows underneath every conversation you have with someone. And if you don't, you can't see it and they can't see it. This is all pre-sale. But if you can remove the pressure out of the process of selling, what'll happen is you'll build enough trust with someone so they'll feel comfortable telling you the truth of where they stand. So together you can decide if both of you are a fit or not.
Wow.
And if you're a fit, great. If not, you walk away. And that became my whole philosophy, my whole system called Unlock the Game or Unlock the Game mindset, where the concept is the mindset is to not focus anymore on your goal of the sale, but instead of focus on building enough trust with somebody early on so they feel comfortable telling you the truth of where they stand. And that became a whole revolution that we started 20 years ago. People all over the world who are following us now run Unlock the Sales Game to change their whole mindset,
Yeah.
change their approach and languaging to build trust. And ironically, here's the irony of all this, Cedric. When you let go of your goal of making the sale, you build trust with people this our way, you double your sales opportunities.
Wow. Wow. What a powerful story. Wow. That is amazing. What a powerful story. So tell us more. Tell us more.
Sure. So I think there's some myths I want to talk about a bit here about some old sales myths still in the back of our mental hard drives we need to clean
Okay.
out
Okay.
to get ready for a new approach.
Help us
So
clean it up. Help us clean it up.
one of them is you probably heard of this one, that sales is a numbers game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a pretty common one, right?
Yeah.
The concept behind that is the more calls you make, the more sales you're supposed to make. That's the concept behind that, you know. But we discover in this economy now, it's not about how many contacts you make anymore. It's about how deep you go on each conversation.
Wow.
How good you are at trust building, not how good you are at how many contacts you make.
Yeah.
And that's a whole mindset shift in itself because we're already on our next step.
Wow.
We're not being present with someone.
Yeah.
And they can feel that from you a while. That's number one. Number two is the idea that the sale is lost at the end of the process. Well, you know what we realized? We discovered that in this economy now, the sale is not lost anymore at the end of the process. You know where it's lost?
Where's that?
At the beginning, at hello.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I'll show you right now in a fun way. I'll show you right now. If someone calls you tomorrow morning on your phone, you pick it up and you hear, "Hi, my name is, I'm with, we are a." What goes through your mind in about 3 seconds?
Whether I'm gonna hang up the phone or whether I'm gonna listen.
It's over at hello.
Yes, that's true. Absolutely.
So I'm not suggesting that your listeners were all doing outbound calls, but I will suggest that, and I'll make a case for it today, that many of your listeners are losing their sales opportunities not at the end of the process, they're losing it at the beginning of their process, which is very, very contrarian thinking, because most sales gurus teach people to focus on the end of the process. It turns out the sales lost at the beginning.
Wow, makes sense. Makes sense.
So one more around this. That's the idea that sales rejection is part of the game. If you can't get out there and take a hit, if you can't take a no, if you're not tough enough, you're not thick-skinned enough, you're not made for success.
Mm.
And that comes from the old sales managers out there who've been beat up over the years. And because they've been beat up, they say, you got to get beat up too. They're thick-skinned, they're kind of tough. And they say, hey, take the hits because you'll get a few hits to get a yes. Well, we figured out in our research, we discovered over the last 20 years that rejection actually is triggered by certain things you say and do that cause the other person to push back on you and not tell you the truth. And I'll share with you and your listeners today what those triggers are, and you'll realize for the first time in your entire life, if you've been in business and sales, that you're losing your sales not because of them, but because of you. Wow. And it'll shock some listeners who are realizing, who've been around for a long time in the sales game, that certain things you're probably saying or doing unconsciously that's triggering the wall to go up. Those are the myths.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. Tell us about your 3 mindset principles that you teach that are the foundation of Unlock the Game.
Definitely. So there's 3 principles behind our system and a philosophy.
Uh-huh.
I'll give you examples around these too. Number 1 is the idea of always be diffusing pressure. Always be diffusing pressure in the sales conversation. And we do that using what we call our own unique proprietary trust-based languaging. Certain words and phrases to use that actually make the whole thing work in real time. Not scripting, but actual natural languaging that creates that authenticity and that trust. Let me give you an example right now. Let's say you're having a first call with somebody over the phone. Could be a possible client of yours. Could be a good opportunity for you. Good conversation, call is going well, good chemistry there. The call comes to an end. Usually in traditional sales, we typically say things like, hey, how about we get together? How about a cup of coffee? Let's move forward. We always move people to the next step. That's how we've been trained to move things forward in the process. Now, what can happen if you try and move somebody forward and they aren't ready yet? What do you break with them right there at that moment when you're focused on the next step? You break trust with them, right? Instantly. So same approach, same situation, our approach, our mindset, our languaging. Same scenario, call is going well, great chemistry, good opportunity, call comes to an end. Rather than saying, hey, how about we move forward? What we say instead is this. We say, where do you think we should go from here? So what's happening right now? What's the shift going on here? What are they thinking when I say, where do you think we should go from here? They're usually in a state of shock. They can't believe somebody in business is asking them what they want to do. And all of a sudden, you shift the power. And what happens is they start saying things like, well, I've got one more question. Or what about, all of a sudden, it comes out? The truth. The truth comes out at hello at the beginning. You know where you stand, not at the end, chasing what I call ghosts. People who say are interested, but have no intention of buying. This is mind-blowing when you realize that most businesses spend 80% of the time chasing leads that never convert to clients because they were lost at hello.
Wow.
So that's the first concept. And the trigger, this I mentioned earlier, triggers a rejection. One is languaging, the words that you use, and also delivery of the languaging. Like what did you notice when I said, where do you think we should go from here? You notice the delivery, the tonality in that? It was very calm, lowered my voice, relaxed. It wasn't, hey, where do we should go from here?
Yeah.
See, that's energy momentum. When you create momentum with somebody
Yeah.
who doesn't trust you yet, you're putting pressure on them. So
Wow.
we diffuse we remove the pressure out of the process to
Yes.
create enough safe space to be vulnerable so they feel comfortable telling you the truth. And that is our whole philosophy and system is your goal is the truth, to know where they stand up front.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll never have a sale in the first place.
Yeah.
That's principle number one.
Yeah.
Um, Number two is the idea of always getting to the truth.
Hmm.
And what that means is having the other person always feel comfortable
Mm-hmm.
telling you the truth of where they stand, everything up front, as much as possible. Here's an example of this. Recently I had someone call my office. They got through my team, got to me. I picked the phone up and I heard Mr. Galper. I said, yes. And I'm John Johnson, change the name. I'm with XYZ company. It's a big company name. And we're looking to hire someone to come into our company and change our sales culture and change our team to a new way of thinking. We're looking at you and two other people. We'd like to know, first of all, why should we go with you? Why are you the best? And give me your best sales pitch.
Oh man. Talking about pressure.
That's right. He's putting pressure on me. So I took a deep breath. I got centered in my mindset. I lowered my voice and I said to him, well, isn't that interesting? And I paused for a few minutes. And I said, isn't that interesting? Because over here at our company, we have a very similar process to you, where we ask them questions, gather information to see if we're a good fit. And if we're a good fit, we decide where to go from there. I said, would you be open to that? And then I heard nothing on the phone. I was like, oh man, he's still there. Did he leave? Or then I heard the breath across the phone. He actually breathed. I could feel his shoulders go down. He lowers his voice. You know what he says to me? He says, okay, what kind of questions do you have for me?
That is huge. He took a deep breath and basically, like the wall just fell down. That is, man, that's huge.
He became human again, because he carried a mask around him and a shield around him. He became a human being again. And then we had, after that, we had a nice discussion for 5 minutes. And in the discussion, I discovered, one, he's not a decision maker. Two, he has no budget. And three, he's just curious as to what I do. So off he went to my website for some information. I hung up the phone. Now, what did my process, Cedric, just save me months of?
You didn't spend months and months of time. You know exactly where he's at that particular time. Maybe he'll be ready in 6 months and you can readjust. But right now, you know he's not ready. You know I can move on and work on some more prospects.
Yeah. So it saved me months of chasing, heartache,
oh man,
stress.
Yeah.
Actually, this drug, it's in our bodies and it gets activated with inbound calls like that. You know what the drug is called?
What's that?
It's called hopium. You know the hopium drug when you kind of hope it's going to work out. You're like, woohoo! Yeah. You call hey guys, you got the phone call from them. I'm so excited. You got the hopium going on. Oh, you're man. And then you call them back and you get the voicemail like, what? He's not there. What? Then you go to your laptop and you email and you go, hi, I'm just calling, writing to follow up and no word back. You're like, oh, man, this sucks selling. And the hopium just disappears. You're like, oh, I hate sales. In fact, I'm going to ask you and your listeners right now to take an oath with me, a verbal oath, to remove one key phrase forever from your vocabulary in the world of business. And if you've been around sales for a long time, this might hurt just a bit. Is that all right, Cedric?
Yes, sir. Go.
I'm going to ask everyone on this call who's listening to never again use these two words ever again as of today in their business. And that is the words follow up. Follow up. Never use the phrase follow up ever again. Because what's the only industry that uses the word follow up? Sales. And the minute they attach you to the sales stereotype, it's over. When you call it follow up, you're calling to move things to your sale, move things forward. That's the last word to ever use. Kill it. Never write emails. Don't ever use the word follow-up again. Instead, you say this. This comes right from our programs. You say, I'm just giving you a call to see if you have any feedback on our previous conversation, any feedback on our last meeting, any feedback on our proposal. Because feedback's going backwards, not forwards. You do not want to attempt to move somebody forward in your sales process. Now, what I just said to you is absolutely contrarian to everything you've ever heard in your life if you've been in sales for a long time, because that just goes against the grain of how you've been taught. But when you are attempting to move somebody forward, you are putting momentum in the process. Momentum creates pressure, and then the wall goes up, and now you're playing the game.
What I love about you said feedback. What I love about that is when you asking for feedback, I mean, you're putting the power in their hands, so they feel like they have some type of control. I'm continue.
You're absolutely right. You're sharing control with the other person. And that creates trust with people.
Yes.
By the way, I'll tell you a story in a few minutes about this, but it's really powerful. This applies way beyond just sales. You realize that this is about life communication, kids, marriage, children. This is trust-based communication, not just trust-based selling. But the last principle is the idea of what I call always being a problem solver, not a pitch person. And you probably heard of the 30-second commercial or elevator pitch idea, where if somebody meets someone in an elevator, they say, "Hey, what do you do, Cedric?" I am a whatever. I'm a business coach, or I'm an insurance agent, and we automatically talk about ourselves as a solution. See, our identity is our solution. What we don't do is talk about them and their problems. So our whole approach converts your offer and your pitch into what we call a problem-based approach. So when you meet someone, you're a business coach, and someone says, "What do you do?" You don't say, "I'm a business coach." You say, "I help businesses solve 3 problems. 1, get their operations right. 2, increase sales. And 3, help them scale." You see, you lay out, you enter the conversation with people from a problem point of view, not your solution point of view. And let me a quick story, wrap this up. I'll tell you, I was speaking at a large event a couple of years back, and I finished speaking, and this guy runs across the room to the stage out of the blue. I'm like, "Oh man, who's this guy?" And I said, "Sir, do you have a business, sir?" He goes, "No." "Are you in sales, sir?" He goes, "No." I go, "Why you why you want to talk to me?" You know what he says to me? He goes, I'm a dad, and I have a teenage son, and I want to buy whatever you've got." And I was like, "Whoa, why is that?" He said, "Because my son turned 16, he got a new car. He comes home every night past curfew after we agreed on, and he and I just go, he walks to the front door at night, we're head to head. He's got his iPods on his ears, the earphones, he walks right past me. He and I cannot connect. It's like 2 ships in the night. I want to learn how to build trust with my son. I want to learn how to communicate with him. I want to break that wall. You teach me how to master the art of trust, and I will pay you anything." And so he worked with me and my team, and he came back to us and he said, I said, "Ari, let me tell you what happened. My son came home one night past curfew, and I totally got your mindset, your languaging from the training, everything you told me to do." He walks in the front door. I took a deep breath. I lowered my voice, and I said, "Son, would you be open to the possibility of us working together to solve this problem of you coming home late every night? Would you be open to that?" He says this to his son. You know what his son says to him? "Are you on drugs, dad? Or what? Are you drinking something?" What? He's not used to somebody engaging him. He's used to being told what to do. All of a sudden, he's shocked by this communication pattern. And turns out they work together, solve the problem. Now his son works with us, and now they've learned how to communicate with trust, and their relationship's blossoming as they get older. Because they learn how to connect at a level that no one else knows how to do, using our approach and the mindset that we teach of letting go of the agenda, connecting with somebody. And this applies to all areas of your life, from negotiations to kids we saved a marriage from divorce once when the guy's like, Ari, on the edge of divorce, but I learned how to finally connect and listen to my wife and understand her needs. Now I get it. That was my issue, not hers. And boom, they're back together happy, because it was all just a lack of penetrating the wall. And my mission, Cedric, is to change the world by helping people at all levels build trust with each other one-on-one, so they know how to listen clearly, problem solve, and not have their agenda seep into the communication.
This is awesome. This is so amazing, because I'm listening to different stories, and things are going on in my head right now. I mean, I realize, that this is important in every area of your life. When you're dealing with your children, when you're dealing with in your marriage, in relationships, in business, in work. I mean, if you're on a team, just at the office, it work in every aspect. This is so important and so essential to every aspect and every point in your life. So how can the Lead to Greatness audience make your unlock the game mindset a permanent way of thinking?
Well, the best way is to go to unlockthegame.com, just like it sounds. Get involved with us. I've got a book, Unlock the Sales Game. There's a membership program. There's a course called the One Call Sale, which is revolutionary. It's how to onboard somebody on one phone call without proposals, without pressure, and without chasing. It's a miracle. It's hard to even imagine how to do this, but we have mastered the art of trust, and we have a whole bunch of courses on trust-based writing, how to basically change all your communication to build that trust. Because I'll tell you right now, if you aren't consciously putting trust inside your business on the sales process, you are going to commoditize your whole approach. And trust is a category of one approach to the market, which no one's really doing very well. And our team and approach has resources that could change your life.
Wow. This is awesome. I'm so excited for us to Lead to Greatness community. It's really just to build that trust. Wherever trust is lacking in our family, or whatever aspect of our life, this unlock the game. Definitely the small things. It's so amazing, the small things that makes the big impact. I mean, we're living in a generation, we're living in a society where everybody want to do the big things, because the big things, that's what gets the likes, that's what's popular. But it's the small things that makes the difference. And this is so awesome. So do you have any last words before
Like I would say that we now have a certification program for people who want to be certified in this approach and to become a trust-based mindset coach, to spread the word. And I think the more we can spread the word, the more impact we're going to have. And I think the big message today is this: if you aren't consciously creating trust in every step of your process in your business right now, you won't survive long term, because trust is the last bastion of differentiation. And most people take it for granted. They don't know how to put it in their business as a systematic process. And if you get this right, man, you're set for life.
On behalf of the Lead to Greatness community, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and adding value to us.
You're welcome, Cedric. Love being here. Eye of the tiger, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And if this podcast was helpful to you, leave a big thumbs up. And also, I want you to check out our Marriage Coach podcast, the podcast with my wife and I. If you're on iTunes, please rate this podcast and leave a review and help get the word out. Again, thank you, Lead to Greatness Nation, for joining us on today. Looking forward to seeing you again on next week. Till then, remember, if you help others reach their greatest potential, together we can change the world. Peace. We out.